President Bola Ahmed Tinubu arrives in Abuja after 63rd ordinary session of Authority of ECOWAS heads of state and government. Improving investment flow tops discussion at 22nd Global Energy Summit in Abuja. And customs officers get acquainted with 2023 Service Act, just as auditors in Kanu learn the ropes from Budget Ministry. Good evening, welcome to NTA Network News. I'm Cyril Stober in Abuja. Joining me from Lagos is Michael Olale. And you can join this broadcast live on our website www.nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screens. President Bola Tinubu is back in the country after a two-day visit to Guinea-Bissau for the 63rd ordinary session of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, with another feather added to his cap as the new chairman of the sub-regional body. The president arrived at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, where his aides, led by the Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, were waiting to receive him. The summit is his first international engagement on the African continent since he took office on May 29th. Now, apart from reflecting the level of trust reposed in him by the leadership of other member states, the election of President Bola Tinubu also affirms the status of Nigeria as the biggest economy in Africa, with the enormous responsibility of leading the way for economic prosperity of the region. Before departing Guinea-Bissau, President Bola Tinubu had given a commitment to run an inclusive administration geared towards stamping out terrorism and other forms of insecurity in the ECOWAS sub-region. Well, President Bola Tinubu was invited for the ordinary session of the Authority of ECOWAS heads of state and government in Bissau. But what the Nigerian leader had was an extraordinary outing. State House correspondent Musbah Al-Wahab gives an overview of the president's activities in the West African country.
Second official trip abroad, but first on the continent and in the West African sub-region. Arriving here at the Osvaldo Vieira International Airport, Bissau, the president of the largest African country was so received by groups, including members of a diplomatic community, and with pomp and pride. A visit for a regional mission, but first on the mind of the commander-in-chief was to see the well-being of the Nigerian troops who have left their homes for more than a year to contribute to the peace and stability under threat here.
We are lucky to be the first military personnel that our commander-in-chief is visiting outside the shores of Nigeria.
Your Excellency, this is one of the many peace support operations that Your Excellency has granted approval for Nigeria to participate in. Like I mentioned earlier, we have the highest contingent here of 178, Your Excellency.
We are very proud of you. Proud of your commitment, proud of your loyalty, and we will not abandon you at any given time. Nigeria depends on you. Nigeria will show the world that you are responsible and you are focused.
To the main mission, a new man on the block arrives to take his place in the Authority of ECOWAS heads of state and governments. The host president and outgoing chairman of the authority, Umaru Sissoko Embalo, and ECOWAS Commission President, Omar Aliyu Toure, led the way. Welcome. You are the most expected, was the reading of the atmosphere.
I would like, therefore, to welcome President Tinubu to his first meeting of the ECOWAS Authority.
Attentively, the astute politician followed the deliberations around issues of regional integration. Security, economic and financial matters were prominent. But it was all going to end on a table. President Tinubu, on his first appearance, got to the driver's seat of a block. New seats, new nomenclature, and a new vigor for ECOWAS.
We should serve a warning to exploiters that our people have suffered enough. We must bite back. We can't sit like toothless bulldog and ECOWAS. We will not allow coup after coup West African separation.
President Bola Tinubu is not just going to change Nigeria, but indeed the West African sub-region. Two massive responsibilities today, and we believe it's up to the task.
ECOWAS is at a critical stage where we have so many issues that require a very strong leadership, and Nigeria is going to provide that leadership.
Many people underestimate the greatness of Nigeria, but Nigeria remains unputdownable. And him taking that seat at this moment, when it's barely 1 month in office, is sending a strong signal to the rest of Africa.
As he departs Bissau, President Tinubu's ability is not in doubt amongst his colleagues. The world is only waiting to witness the new heights this new leadership leads to. From Bissau, Musbau, then Wahab, NTA News.
In the meantime, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has congratulated President Bola Tinubu for emerging as the chairman of the Authority of Heads of State and Government of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, at the 63rd ordinary session that took place on Sunday in Bissau, Guinea-Bissau. In a statement, Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Mr. Boyega Hakoshile, describes the development as a significant affirmation of Nigeria's leadership in the West African sub-region and the African continent. He added that the confidence reposed in President Tinubu by his colleagues to lead the important coalition would manifest in the effective collaboration and practical solutions to the many challenges of economic growth, sustainable development, and issues of trans-border security. Similarly, Speaker House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas felicitates with President Bola Tinubu, noting that the President's new role is an affirmation of his popularity beyond Nigeria and among his colleagues in West Africa. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas is confident of the Nigerian leader's ability to deploy his wealth of experience in public administration to spearhead sustainable social economic plans for the African sub-region. He expressed optimism that the African sub-region will witness exemplary leadership with the Nigerian president as ECOWAS chairman. Nigerians from all walks of life have been enjoined to close ranks and join hands with President Bola Tinubu to intensify the fight against corruption. Key players in the judicial sector made the plea at a webinar at the instance of the Rule of Law Development Foundation with the theme Setting Agenda for the Tinubu Administration. Austin Ayebe completes the report.
The topic discussed is a proposal. Can the Tinubu administration succeed without a blueprint?
The Rule of Law Development Foundation and other progressive civil society organizations in Nigeria to mobilize the people to take control of the war against corruption.
If you want to fight this business of corruption, there can be no shortcuts. The media trial is a shortcut. Taking confessional statements is a shortcut. We have to reboot.
Assessing the decisions taken so far by the administration, the key players in the judicial sector said President Tinubu has been hailed, but more constitutional steps should be taken to hold public officers accountable for their stewardship, while urging the Nigerian leader to intensify the fight on corruption through strengthening of institutions.
Was it possible for nepotism, for cronyism, and some of the parties to go unchecked?
Our definition of corruption is people who embezzle money. I think the manufacturing industry for corruption in Nigeria is the lack of organization of our society.
Lamenting how some Nigerians allegedly continue to milk the country dry, the key players in the judicial sector canvassed the need for assets declared by public officers to be published, and ecological funds disbursed to states should equally be published so that people can ask questions from political office holders when they fail to implement the projects. They commended the investigative process that led to the outcome of the fact-finding of the forgery of JAMB result by Mesoma Joy Ejikeme, saying the outcome was a pointer to the fact that people should not be quick to jump into conclusion and giving such an act ethnic inclination. They lamented that young people who are seen as the future of Nigeria are now immersed in the ill of corruption. It was the key players' firm belief that the development must be checked in the interest of generational equity. In Abuja, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
Well, as has been reported, President Tinubu has returned from the ECOWAS session, the 63rd ordinary session of the Authority of Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS, with another feather in his cap, as he was made the chairman of the body. Now, to put into perspective how Nigeria benefits from this and what it says on the assumption of the chairmanship by Nigeria's president, who only became president on the 29th of May, being joined via Zoom by the Permanent Secretary of the Foreign Affairs Ministry, Adamu Ibrahim Lamua. Thanks for being with us tonight on Network News.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Soren.
Right, the 63rd ordinary session of the Authority of Heads of State and Governments of ECOWAS has ended with President Tinubu emerging as president. How would you rate Nigeria's outing?
Very successful indeed. Successful in the sense that this is a testimony to how the leaders unanimously decided that they need somebody who can take ECOWAS to a higher stage. And that is exactly what happened. Without any debate, once the proposal was made, it was accepted by all. This is just to show the greatness of Nigeria and also an affirmation of the democratic credentials of President Tinubu.
Well, the president clearly stated that coups will no longer be tolerated in the sub-region, and that's an indication that one area he wishes to champion is the development of democracy. Now, what other areas do you see Nigeria pursuing to improve West Africa?
So much to do, and Nigeria has so much to offer, especially in terms of economic integration. The ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme, it has been on for a very long time, and it has faced so many challenges, and Nigeria has the greatness to make sure that these policies are implemented. At the same time, trade. Facilitating trade within ECOWAS has always been a difficult task, but we believe with this, Nigeria can now have a very, very great opportunity to integrate the ECOWAS sub-region through road networking, telecommunications, and a lot of other areas that the community would certainly develop further by getting them integrated under President Tinubu.
All right.
And another area that I really feel we should also do is humanitarian issues.
Okay.
Because of the crisis happening from Mali, Burkina Faso, a lot of areas have been affected, and this is an opportunity for Nigeria to take the lead and assist other ECOWAS member states.
All right. Well, many are surprised at this election, as we just note President Tinubu is just about less than 2 months in office as president of Nigeria. What do you think gave the ECOWAS leaders such a confidence to make him the chairman at this time?
Number one is the personality of President Tinubu. Certainly, he is being viewed as a leader of the ECOWAS member states even before being a president. And yes, the greatness of Nigeria, Nigeria's role in leading ECOWAS right from its inception. Certainly, these two factors have motivated the leaders of this community in this summit to unanimously agree that, yes, it is only Nigeria that can get ECOWAS out of the mess. Mess in the sense that there are security issues, looking at Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, some part of Benin and Togo, and of course, some parts of Nigeria. And the agreement, without saying it, is that it's only Nigeria that can help. And when the opportunity came, they all decided that yes, this is the right time to propose that Nigeria should please come and help. And that's exactly what they did. And Mr. President graciously accepted that he will lead ECOWAS to deal with these issues, especially insecurity, humanitarian issues. Of course, you are all aware, right from Algeria, a lot of Africans and West African citizens are being maltreated, are being returned, and the catastrophe is too much putting pressure on Niger Republic. And Niger, the president of Niger was very, very clear that they need a leader who can help ECOWAS to get out of this crisis.
All right.
And Nigeria is there to provide such leadership.
Okay. Africa has always been the centerpiece of Niger's foreign policy. Are we seeing some intense diplomacy, African diplomacy, using West Africa as the launch pad?
Absolutely right. Charity begins at home. And of course, President Tinubu has the interests of Nigeria at heart first, then ECOWAS, and to the larger African community. But ECOWAS has much more difficulties now compared to the larger African group. And it is strongly believed from the outcome of the summit and the declaration that with Nigeria at the helm of affairs in ECOWAS, it is believed that things will get better. And President Tinubu has given his commitment to improve the security situation, the humanitarian issues, economic integration, trade, particularly the actualization of the Abidjan-Lagos corridor. Of course, it's been on the pipeline for a very long time.
Okay.
And this is the right time for us, I think, to pursue it. And yes, Nigeria we can say, yes, Nigeria is considering not only ECOWAS, but also Africa.
All right. Well, we'll have to leave it there this time. And thank you very much, Permanent Secretary, Mr. Foreign Affairs, Adamu Ibrahim Lamua. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Right. You're watching NTA Network News. We'll take a short break now. The rest of the news continues shortly. Thanks for staying with us. Nigeria is experiencing a momentous change towards its energy evolution path, anchored by the decade of gas and the resolve to create a just, affordable and sustainable energy system. Executive Vice President Upstream NNPC Limited, while declaring open the 22nd edition of the Niger Oil and Gas Energy Conference, says it is convened to discuss and debate strategies that will increase investment flows into the country, enhance industry operations and promote international partnerships. Now, in line with this development, the 22nd Oil and Gas Energy Week holding in Abuja has changed its narrative to enable a more robust, integrated and comprehensive conversation. Lydia Sampson reports.
The Executive Vice President Upstream NNPC Limited reiterates that the NOG Energy Week Strategic Conference for over 21 years had set agenda for discussion of policy implementation, project development, investment opportunities and solutions to current industry challenges, such as how to decarbonize traditional oil and gas operations.
This gathering is Nigeria's foremost international energy conference. It has a theme, Powering Nigeria's Sustainable Energy for the Future. This gathering draws policymakers, regulators, and leaders from private sector to discuss Nigeria's vital energy agenda.
The NOG Energy Week Conference and Exhibition, formerly known as Nigerian Oil and Gas Conference and Exhibition, expert says, will facilitate multilateral dialogue, foster multi-stakeholder engagement, and enable deal-making within the energy sector across the value chains. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
The leadership of the All Progressives Congress has commenced engagement with stakeholders of the party to ensure a worthwhile reward system to members at all levels. This informed a strategic meeting between the National Working Committee and State Chairman of the party in Abuja. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
The 2023 electoral battle was fought and won through the ballot. State chairmen, as leaders of the APC troops in their respective states, are intensifying efforts to ensure an all-inclusive government under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
But you run the party on a daily basis, and a good blend of understanding between you and the governors and this secretariat and members of the National Committee will go more than the ordinary way in enhancing the kind of leadership that we want to have for the party.
This is a moment where rumors and blackmail can thrive. But as a party, there is only one APC. And we came again in solidarity to say we are strongly behind our national chairman and the National Working Committee.
The state chairman promised to sustain useful engagement among members and ensure diligent service as ambassadors of the renewed hope mantra. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, has launched a media fellowship program, a training on risk communication to mainstream health and enhance effectiveness epidemiology literacy to meet international standards of journalism. Oluseyi Adiagbu reports that 30 Nigerian journalists representing different media outlets across the country will be trained for 12 weeks in the first phase of the program.
Cases of diphtheria, a contagious disease which claimed one life in Nigeria's capital city, Abuja, was reported last week, making media headlines.
We have one confirmed case of diphtheria which sadly was associated with a death. Is one case an outbreak? Okay, what does the term outbreak mean? What does epidemiology mean?
Integrity of reporting, risk communication, and health-related issues in the media space is a concern to these epidemiologists, as many journalists in Nigeria need to be more acquainted with the right use of language for professional reportage. To achieve this, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) and its partners have developed a premier fellowship opportunity tagged Media Here Has, an initiative targeting building capacity of health-focused media practitioners in Nigeria.
We recognize that communication obviously is essential to carry along the public that we serve.
We will draw from our years and expertise to deliver proven and tested SBC approaches and apply them to risk communication.
To enable
helping them report more accurately and effectively, and also to verify information that will improve the well-being of the people.
Drivers of these cars say the collaboration has efforts towards protecting the health of Nigerians against infectious diseases and a strategic approach to engineer preparedness and response in Nigeria's public health emergencies. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
Honesty is a virtue which is mostly learned from parents, societal values and religious beliefs. And this virtue was exceptionally displayed by a Nigerian female pilgrim from Zamfara State, Hajia Aisha Muhammad Yanguru, who recently handed over a huge sum of money she found in Mecca to the relevant authorities. Jamilu Ibrahim was at the Nahuche community in Bungudu local government area of Zamfara State, where he had a conversation with this woman who displayed her honesty and has just returned from the Holy Land.
The story of a 2023 Nigerian female pilgrim Hajia Aisha Yanguru Nahuche, who handed over a huge sum of money she found in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, recently went viral on social media. The 55-year-old pilgrim, who hails from Nahuche district in Bungudu local government area of Zamfara State, according to the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, voluntarily handed over the lost but found $8,000 to the relevant authorities for onward transmission to its rightful owner. Expectedly, the pilgrim, who just returned to Nigeria, has been receiving commendations from within and outside the country. It is indeed a double celebration for the family members of Hajia Aisha Yanguru and indeed the Nahuche community at large. And they are not only celebrating her safe return from Mecca, but also jubilating her exceptional display of honesty while in the Holy Land.
We feel very elated by the action of our mother. This is one of the good virtues she has inculcated in our minds. She always leads by example.
Hajia Aisha Muhammad Yanguru Nahuche says she came across the money during the circumambulation of the Holy Kaaba.
The monies were contained in a travel purse, so I took them to my room. I could not get rest of mind until when I eventually handed them over to the officials of the Zamfara State Hajj Commission in Mecca. My action was purely out of fear of God and my quest to have an acceptable Hajj.
The district head of Nahuche said Hajia Aisha has made the community proud.
We commend this widow for her exceptional sense of honesty, which makes our district proud. In fact, she deserves to be honored for others to emulate her.
Hajia Aisha Muhammad Yanguru Nahuche is widely celebrated as the Nigerian Pilgrim of the Year 2023, who deserves to be appreciated and recognized by the appropriate authorities. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
And the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akube, congratulates President Bola Tinubu on his emergence as the 36th Chairman of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The President emerged in a unanimous endorsement at the 63rd Ordinary Session of the Authority of Heads of State and Government yesterday. The SGF is confident that the President's tenure will usher in a refreshing season of democratic stability in the sub-region and cooperation among member states in order to realize the dreams and aspirations of its founding fathers. He wishes the President a successful tenure as ECOWAS Chairman. Now let's link up with Michael in Lagos for more reports. Michael?
Thank you, Cyril. Data from the World Health Organization shows that cervical cancer is the second most common after breast cancer in Nigeria, with 12,000 cases diagnosed annually as well as 8,000 deaths. This translates to 33 new cases and 22 deaths daily. Worried by the alarming figures, the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research, NIMA, and other partners are training young women how to end the scourge through the For Girls and Women initiative. Hingino John Adams tells us more.
It is a cancer that affects their gender, and after a month's innovation boot camp powered by NIMA and its partners, these young ladies have reeled out brilliant ideas of how they intend to save vulnerable women by ending cervical cancer in Nigeria.
We have over 100 volunteers across Nigeria, which make our work sustainable.
As the fourth most common cancer among women globally, statistics show that one life is lost every 2 minutes from cervical cancer. This is worrisome, and experts here are unanimous that the narrative must change.
This is a disease that is almost 100% preventable. Once we vaccinate girls who are ages 9 to 15 and screen women who are between 30 to 35, 65 years of age, you can eradicate cervical cancer. Why are women dying?
We have an effective vaccine, has very few side effects, it's safe, it's reliable.
Our goal is to ensure that girls and women in Nigeria will lead the way so that we collectively end cervical cancer.
We as advocates are engaging these relevant stakeholders to ensure that we do more for cancer patients.
With the initiative by NIMA and others, there are expectations that the global target to eradicate cervical cancer by 2030 may be achieved. In Lagos, Hinginu, John Adams, NTA News.
The reopening of the Abuja Bridge in Lagos is still sending waves of excitement across the metropolis, especially for motorists and commuters who must navigate between the mainland and island. As business activities pick up at that axis, Joe Popola reports that the directive of Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu banning trading under the bridge has been fully complied with.
Harrowing experience that lasted for a year and 4 months, motorists are now plying the Akmogbo Bridge, thus reducing travel time. The bridge, which links Costain, Igomu, Surulere and many other areas on the island and mainland, was reopened by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu alongside officials of the Federal Ministry of Works, much to the relief of the motoring public.
When this bridge is not open, I used to go to Idumota, which is a lot of stress. But now they have opened, I can easily take my bus to Idumota.
Our governor opened the way for us. We thank Almighty Allah. They will pray for God that we need more customers.
The usual gridlock around Akpogbo, Costain and Ijora axis will be reduced to the barest minimum as the bridge will now increase alternative routes.
It is indeed a jolly good ride, but for this each-free vehicular movement to continue, Lagosians are expected to take ownership of the project.
While vehicular movement is smooth en route Akpogbo Bridge, it is a sharp contrast on this bridge linking CMS from Akpogbo, which needs urgent attention to guarantee each-free vehicular movement.
I think people have sent email to the state government to work on it.
Meanwhile, it will no longer be business as usual for traders who have started relocating their wares since trading under the bridge has now been outlawed. The traders, however, appeal to the government to provide a makeshift for them to carry out their businesses.
The only thing we have already tell our people, everybody should vacate under the bridge. They should vacate under the bridge. They should not put anything under the bridge.
In sustaining the ban on trading under the bridge, the police are on ground to enforce compliance with the directive. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
Those are the stories making the rounds in Lagos at this time. Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for some messages. The news will be back shortly. Please stay.
Back in Abuja with a look at trending stories in the world of business. Here is Musa Abubakar. Musa.
The Naira appreciated to 744 Naira per dollar at the investors and exporters window. The closing rate represents a 24 Naira per dollar gain from Friday's 768 Naira per dollar rate. Market reports show the Naira exchange at 790 Naira to a dollar. The parallel market leaving the 66 naira per dollar gap between the official and parallel market rates. Analysts say Friday's low closing rate at INE window attracted forex buyers interested in getting the greenback at cheaper rates to that segment of the market. And now to trade, the National Bureau of Statistics says the total capital importation into Nigeria in first quarter 2023 stood at $1.1 billion, lower than $1.5 billion recorded in quarter 1 of 2022, indicating a decrease of 28% when compared to the preceding quarter. Capital importation rose by 6.78% from $1.060 billion in fourth quarter 2022. The largest capital importation during the period was received from portfolio investment, which accounted for 57.32% of total capital imported in first quarter 2023. This was followed by other investment with 38.31% and foreign direct investment with 4.20%. Capital importation by country of origin reveals that capital from the United Kingdom ranked top in first quarter 2023 with accounting for 59.47%. This was followed by the United Arab Emirates and the United States, while Lagos and Abuja were the major investment destinations. And to capital market, the equities market closed midweek session in a positive territory as investors gained 851.2 billion naira. The all-share index climbed 2.84% at 64,602.69 basis points. A total turnover of 1.8 billion securities valued at 0.03 billion naira were traded in 14,584 deals. Equity capitalization advanced to 33.17 trillion naira. The financial services industry dominated activity chart with FBN Holdings, Universal Insurance PLC, and Sterling Financial Holdings Company PLC. Now that concludes business news. Cyril, is back to you.
Thank you, Musa. The Nigerian Customs Service is set to review procedures at all points of entry into the country without violating national security. Acting Controller General of the service, Adewale Adeniyi, who disclosed this at a sensitization workshop in Abuja on the Services 2023 Act, emphasized that innovations embedded in the Act will aid its implementation. Kunle Adeyeye reports.
Before the 2023 Nigeria Customs Service Act, the previous one was in operation for over 6 decades without significant modification. The new one seeks to administer and enforce the provisions of the Act, collect and account for revenue from customs and excise, promote trade facilitation, prevent smuggling, and carry out border enforcement. Being one of the agencies of the federal government saddled with the responsibility of fund generation, the Nigeria Customs Service believes it's time to match words with action.
More importantly, the new processes, and the very stiff punitive provisions of the law. Now we have the powers and we have the legal framework that gives us the leverage to do this. We will therefore start by reviewing our policies and processes that constitute obstacles to free trade.
Besides sensitizing officials of the service, extending such to the public is the next step in its plan.
We've also done a review on this particular instrument, and we are happy, at least on our part, from the point of view of this reform. We would like to salute the Customs Service.
Section 18 of the Act provides for a sum of not less than 4% of the free on-board value of imports as part of the funds the service shall keep and maintain for its operations. Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
Nigeria is using the instrumentality of public audit to place all the federating units onto the path of accountability and transparency, which is key to achieving sustainable growth and development. The issue featured prominently at the opening of capacity building training for states and local governments from the Northwest, organized by the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning in Kano. Aminu Umar reports.
Citizens' confidence, stakeholders say, is critical to achieving a strong revenue for effective governance at all levels. This training, which draws participants from states and local governments of the Northwest, is a step towards bringing transparency, accountability and open governance, which promotes citizens' participation for improved taxpayer confidence.
Most of the states can boast of improved procurement practices to enhance value for money and reduce opportunities for corruption.
Because there are certain targets that if you meet them, this is what you will get. But in the same vein, those targets are actually for you, to help you deliver services to the grassroots.
The training, which is part of the sustainability plan, the coordinator said fiscal transparency, accountability and sustainability program of the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning has recorded success, as now 32 states of the Federation have passed their audit laws.
The competition between the states strive and achieve certain DLIs, as I have mentioned at the beginning. And then the second aspect of it is the capacity building. That is to improve the training of our populace in the civil service at the grassroots, so that those goals that we have been promoting, they can be translated to people beneath the ladder.
The trainees are expected to step down the training at their respective states and local governments. In Kano, Aminu Umar, NTA News.
And more reports just ahead after this break. Sports now with Ayodeji Makinde.
A three-day annual seminar by the Nigeria Olympian Association and the Nigeria Athletes Commission opened at the Media Center of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, where participants from different sports federations in the country are set to undergo refresher sessions on anti-doping and other related issues. President, Nigeria Olympian Association and former D-Tigers captain Olumide Oyedeji believes the consistency of the program will aid elite athletes' performance and prepare them for life after active sports participation.
And the things are supposed to be done, so we try to do it. And also to just talking about the Olympic movement.
In another development, Ebonyi State-born Enoch Nwali has emerged the new champion of the Masters category in the third edition of the Governor Doye Diri National Scrabble Championship in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State, recording 12 wins at the DSP Alamiesea Banquet Hall with a plus 705 cumulative spread to win the trophy. Last year's champion, Nsikak Etem, came second with 11 wins and a plus 724 cumulative. Emmanuel Ofidi finished third on 11 wins with a plus 343 cumulative, while former champion Wellington Jigere could only manage 9 wins with a plus 580 cumulative spread.
We believe that sports is an integral part of our prosperity. It will stop and seduce our youth from crime and criminality. Because for those of you who have played the Scrabble for the past 3 days here, I don't think you had the time to go and stand elsewhere.
We leave it alone for government. It's either it will get better or it will, the glamour might reduce. That is why we have kept appealing.
Elsewhere, reactions have continued to trail the preparations of the Super Falcons, which have been underlined by comments credited to head coach Randy Waldrum ahead of the FIFA Women's World Cup. Football administrators and enthusiasts describe the outburst as untimely and a distraction, but remain optimistic on the team's chances at the Mundial.
These players must play for their fatherland. It's a privilege to wear the green, white, green color of Nigeria. It's a privilege to be at the big stage of the World Cup. The world is watching you.
The FIFA Women's World Cup begins in Australia and New Zealand from July 20 to August 20. With sports updates, Ayodeji Makinde, NTA News.
That concludes Network News tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Cyril Stober. Good night.